Hey, live. Let me just check on the attendance if people are in. Attendees, we have 3. Hi, everyone. Hi, Grace. Hi, Eusta. Hi, Leah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. The 8th week, the final week, the pitch week. Good to see everyone. My name is Phoebe Msonda. I am from Zambia. I am the regional coordinator for WMI, Central and Southern Africa. I'll be your moderator today. In a few seconds, when we have a bit more people, I will introduce them now. Okay, so we have 2 presenters today. Feel free to ask questions. When you're not clear, feel free to make comments, be interactive. I will just read their bios. I don't want to do it from memory. I don't want to miss out the important things. Give me a minute. Okay, so I'll start with Miss Salome Asena. She's from Kenya. Ms. Asena is a seasoned enterprise development and research management expert with over 10 years experience in driving strategic agribusiness development initiatives to realize bottom line results by enhancing project partnerships and donor engagements to meet organizational objectives. She has proven track record of managing and coordinating and supporting short and long-term youth and women targeted agribusinesses. The most recent projects being expanding business opportunities for the youth in fish and poultry sectors, gender-sensitive policy implications of COVID-19 on youth agri-entrepreneurship, resilience, and the effectiveness of the Metro Agri-Food Living Lab for gender-inclusive youth entrepreneurship development in Kenya. The 3 projects have been funded by International Development Research Center and Australian International Agricultural Research. The projects involve scaling the Metro Agri-Food Living Lab, gender mainstreaming and knowledge transfer efforts by intensifying simplified entrepreneurship, training, mentorship, and linkage to finance in 9 counties in Kenya. So that is Ms. Asena's rich bio. She's very fitting for week 8. Ines Ongas, Kenya, that's Mr. Ines Ongas is the Chief Manager Development at United States International University, Africa, a position he was recently appointed to, having served as Principal Development Officer since March 2015. In his current role, he works closely with the Vice Chancellor, where he leads the university's resource mobilization, fundraising efforts with a focus on grants, annual and capital campaigns, partnership development, and alternative funding models for financing universities' infrastructural projects. Mr. Ongas also leads the university's CSR, so that is the corporate social responsibility initiatives, commitments to education, sustainability, and governance. He spearheaded a successful 10-year partnership between USI, Africa, and MasterCard Foundation, valued at $63.2 million, that will see 1,000 scholars across the African continent from marginalized communities receive high-quality higher education at USIU Africa since September 2020. So that is, these are our presenters. If you've heard their bios, they have rich information, they have rich knowledge that will impart onto us. So welcome to the webinar. I will go off now. I will officially welcome the 2 presenters. Thank you.
Are you able to see my screen? Is it on full? Yes, is it on full presentation mode?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you? It's good to finally meet with you at week 8. Ines and I have been very, very excited in terms of preparation for week 8, which is about pitch presentations. So I'll go straight right into it. We are looking to see that you will, these are the learning outcomes. First, we would like for you to understand what a pitch deck is or what presentation is all about. That would mean that we will take you through the do's, the don'ts, what is required, what judges look out for in terms of pitch presentation. Number two, we'd like for you to understand and design a successful pitch presentation. So we'll let you know what is required in terms of the content and the layout. Number three, we'd also wish for you to learn tips on pitch presentation, whether be it virtual or in person. So we'll share our little secret, Inez and I. And then lastly, we are looking for you to understand how to make follow-ups after making a pitch presentation. So the big question we are asking ourselves, you've made a successful pitch presentation, so what? What are some of the learning outcomes that you could get from a pitch presentation? So one of the big questions that we've been asking ourselves is, what is a pitch deck? And when we were searching for information online and in terms of giving examples, Inez and I came to this conclusion that a pitch deck is a story that business owners, entrepreneurs, whether you want to own, whether you have a business idea, an existing business idea, a fresh idea, or an existing entrepreneurship, on how your business is in totality and a concise snapshot of what your company is looking to in terms of provide goods or services in a way that can attract investors. And investors could be philanthropists, could be donors. I'd give an example of donor foundations like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Will and Flora Hewlett Foundation. We have youth organizations that solely fund youth organizations. And the main idea is for investors need to understand the necessary elements of a successful pitch in order for them to give funding. And we believe that this presentation today will give you one step closer to the funding that you need, whether you're a CBO or an NGO. So what is the purpose of a pitch deck? So here are 4 things that we believe are the main reasons why someone should have a pitch deck. The goal of your pitch deck is to get you to the next meeting. And by that we mean, picture yourself getting into a lift with someone like Bill Clinton or the president of the US, the president of your country. What would be your selling point in terms of convincing them to say your story, to talk about your business idea, your existing product or service? What makes you stand out? What is that elevator 5 or a minute pitch that you'd share with the current investor in terms of securing a meeting to now explain in detail what you have? So that would mean your pitch needs to give an investor an opportunity to learn more about your company. So once you've secured that appointment with the potential investor, that would mean that is your one-way ticket to attract an investor and even explain in detail what you do. Since investments are rarely made in just one meeting, that would mean that you need to spark an interest whenever you get an opportunity to interact with an investor or even just a fellow friend in terms of sharing your business idea. That would mean you really have to be passionate about what you're talking about and even passionate about what you want to do in terms of a service or a product. So you really need to be keen. And I'm sure this past 7 weeks, the facilitators have given you different components on how to spark an interest whenever you're talking about your company. And then of course, you'd want to have investors have to ask you more questions after they hear a little bit about what you do in that elevator pitch or even during a meeting with a potential investor. So as we proceed during this presentation, we'll be sharing in detail what you should put in a pitch deck. So I'll pass it on to my colleague Inez to just share some of the pitch content and samples before I take it on again. Inez, over to you.
Thank you, Salome, and colleagues. good morning, good afternoon, good evening. From wherever you are logging from, I think, part of the review of the element of the pitching is the question of, since week one, you've gone through different topics, which again are relevant to the aspect of pitching. Salome has taken you through what is it, and why, what is the purpose of putting a pitch presentation or a pitch deck. And as she rightfully puts it, it's supposed to be getting you to the next meeting. And one of the realities, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's looking at improving the business, as somebody who's looking at starting a CBO, an NGO, is that it's rarely that you will seal a deal at your first meeting, and the kind of resources that you'll be looking out for, would be resources that will require additional meeting and basically a sit down, with a potential investor or a potential partner or a potential supporter. But I must also mention that, people do pitches for different reasons. You may be doing a pitch not to get resources. You may be doing a pitch just to create an awareness, about the organization that you've got. You may be creating a pitch, just to probably just announce yourself into the market. You may be creating a pitch because you are looking for partners. You may be creating a pitch because you are looking for volunteers to basically help you out in terms of human resource. You may be making a pitch because you're looking for board participation. You want some people to be enlisted as members of your board of management, board of trustees, or board of directors. So people do pitches for different reasons. So why you put together a pitch presentation is basically to interest, a potential partner there, a potential investor, regardless of whatever purpose for which you are basically designing the pitch. So this is all you need to know about the pitch in terms of this slide that we are talking about. And the pitches ranges from, 38, 10 slides. You could do a pitch of 10 slides or 11 slides or 12 slides, or you could do a pitch of 38 slides, but it's in relation to how then do you capture the attention, of the person that you are trying to impress, from the pitches. So if you check, this is a 12-slide pitch. The slide you're seeing is a 12-slide pitch. It is recommended that each slide to have its own, its own space. So for example, an introduction slide. Who are you? Why are you here? So we are USIU Africa, and we're in the business of education, giving quality education, to the population in Africa and beyond. We are, WMI, giving opportunities to young people to fulfill their dream. We are, Aziza Pharmaceutical, in the business of providing healthcare, mobile healthcare, so who are you? So that introduction is just talking about who you are and, why are you here? I'm here to want you to understand, where we are going as a business and to see your partnership, to help us get there. Then there's another separate slide on the team. Who are the people behind the CBO? Who are the people behind the business? Who are the people behind the project? In fact, if you get it right at the team slide, that is where you give confidence, to the potential investor or to the potential donor. In your team slide, who are the people you need to capture? My recommendation is that you do a maximum of 3 people in that team slide. And who are the people you put in the team slide? The people you put into the team slide is your typical CEO. I am the CEO, of company XZY, and this is my background. You have 3 bulletins of the experience of the CEO. I hold a PhD in this. I hold a master's in this. My startup experience, I have started 3 or 4 companies. What you're doing by introducing the CEO, because he's the vision holder. So when he or she is the vision holder, so when the CEO is the one making the pitch, already you are giving confidence, to the potential investor or partner that I am not just dealing with anybody in the organization, but I'm dealing with the person who bears the vision, of the organization. Who else should you have there? In many cases, people would have, once you are the CEO in most cases are also co-founders. I am the CEO and co-founder of this organization. Who else is there? You bring in your chief finance officer, or you're bringing in your chief development officer. So the chief development officer is somebody who will be pushing your financing, because you also want to show confidence that in terms of your financial documentation, you are intact. In terms of your financial projection, you have somebody who understands issues of finances, and you give a little snippet of who your chief finance officer is. He's a CPAK if you are in the Kenyan, environment, or the highest professional accounting certification that is recognized, globally, whether it's the UK, US, those international certification programs, so that now you push confidence that this is somebody who understands financial reporting, this is somebody who understands financial projections, this is the kind of experience level that I need, so I can trust this organization with my money. Then the third person you would need there, is somebody who would be keen on either product development, because or customer relations, chief customer relations officer. Somebody will be focusing on the market, or that could be with somebody who is also the chief development, officer. So you could be having 3 top guys who are vision bearers, who you want to use to demonstrate the capacity, of your business, your idea, your organization. But once you've done these 3 people, it's important, present it in a human way. Take very nice pictures of them on probably this one side of the slide, because you do not want to kind of cloud the slide. So you've got your CEO lady or CEO gentleman put there, but also just ensure there's some aspect of gender, considerations while you're doing that. So you've got your CEO, you've got your CFO, you've got your chief information officer or CIO, if he's somebody dealing with a technical organization, if it's somebody who's dealing with issues of product, chief business officer, and all that. So somebody who is critical to your core operations of the business. And then you can talk about others, other key personnel. Those ones you can just list. We've got this and this and this and this, but you've got now 3 big people, of the team that you'd want to push there to demonstrate confidence, or to give confidence to a potential investor that you know what you're doing. The third slide is the problem slide. The problem slide is, what is the need? What are you trying to solve? What are you trying to basically solve? If there is hunger in the continent, that is the problem that you're trying to address. If there are illiteracy in the continent or in the country, that is what you're trying to solve. If there are issues of shortage or lack of capacity of healthcare personnel, that is what you're trying to solve. If there are food shortage, that is what you're trying to solve. If there are issues of you've identified a need that you want to make it easier for people, like, of course, looking at, some of the projects that have been registered, for purposes of pitch presentations, in relations to, hey, this is the need that I am seeing here. That is the problem. So you need to identify what the problem is. And once you identify what the problem is, somebody would begin to start configuring. In fact, before even you get to slide 12, somebody has seen your team, is relating the team that you have in relations to the kind of problem you're trying to solve. All these are tying to each other. And that is how they are demonstrating and looking at capacity, and they're making decisions whether should I grant the next meeting, or not. Then slide 4 is what we call advantages. This is where the element of the SWOT analysis come in. What competitive advantage do you have, as an organization or as a business or as a CBO? That is where now you're saying, what makes you stand out, and what makes what makes you stand out? What makes your solution that you're proposing special to the problem? Special. Are there other people that have tried to solve this problem? And have they failed? What has happened along the way? So it is always important to look at that aspect of competitive advantage that you've got, because that is how you get to learn. That is how you get to know. That is how investors start to think, in relations to, wow, this is something I want to venture in. So you're not just going there blindly. You are going there with a view that this is who we are, this is what is making us special, and this is why we feel that our solution is the best solution for the problem that we are facing. So you have to also list that on an advantage slide. And remember that advantage is tying to your SWOT analysis. The problem is tying to your needs assessment. The team, it's tying to your human resource and management structure. The introduction is tying to your vision, is tying to your mission, is tying to your core values. So this slide basically depicts what you've been doing for your entire 7 weeks of the academy in terms of trying to figure this out. Then you come to the solution slide. The other one gives you about, of course, your competitive advantage. Then there's the solution slide, that this is what we are proposing. Remember, that which you're proposing is what the donor will be investing into. That which you'll be proposing. If it is a hunger crisis, the solution that you are proposing is what somebody will be putting their money on. If it is a beverage business that you want to start and you're looking at support or a seed capital to help you scale, then that solution is what you'll be seeking money, or just seeking resources to help you do. So now that is where the aspect of solution, comes in. You've talked about who you are, you talk about the team that you're looking at, you've identified the problem, you talk about what makes you stand out. Now you're saying that for the problem that I'd identified, this is how I think, or we propose to go about it. Where an investor sits, they're already starting to work with you. They're already starting to think with you. They're already starting, in fact, they're already starting to get that interest, to basically be with you, work with you, and starting to think, do I commit to that next meeting or do I commit to some instant resource? But I just wanted to also mention as we walk through this is to look at that you may be having an excellent idea, but what an investor does is that he or she figures out and say, this might not be in my line of business, but because I am impressed, I know I have contact, I have connections. So they will use their contact, they will use their connections, and then they will refer you. That means that you are doing a good job in your presentation. So that solution is what an investor is putting their financing into. Then the slide 6 talks about the product. Depending on how you are looking at it, there is the solution, but within the solution, the way I want you to start looking at the product, look at the product as activities. Look at the product as the programs. Because you already have the solution. The solution is, we want to provide coffee in the morning so that we kill this aspect of people dehydrating and going hungry for the entire day. We want to bring community healthcare to families at home so that we help save the environment by people getting into motorbike to get to a far distance hospital and help us reduce some mortality rate, and all that. So there's the how aspect. How are you going to go about it? I'm going to go about it using some programs, using some activities, using some product and services. So depending on whether it's a business, whether it's a CBO, whether it's an NGO, you need to start thinking about programs. Because do you know what programs does? Programs help you to come up with the costing. The product helps you to come up with the costing. That is where now, based on the program, somebody will be looking at what your budget is, somebody will be looking at what your financing model is, and they're looking at it in relations to the product, in relations to the program, in relations to the activities. So that's how we start figuring out what are the programs that are within this solution. And those programs can be short-term, can be medium-term, can be long-term, and then you begin to start thinking about how then do you cost those activities, how then do you cost those programs, how then do you budget for that aspect of producing that service or producing that product. Then we have the slide 7, which is the traction. What this traction does, we love validation. Please don't come and ask me for $1 million if you've not convinced me that you are worth taking the risk. So the validation means who else have you worked with? You are trying to look for credibility for your enterprise. You're looking for credibility for your NGO. You're looking for credibility for the program that you're looking at bringing on board. That traction is validation. You're looking for validation. So if, for example, you say that, oh, by the way, based on the fact that getting to the team slide, where now you've talked about those core people, the founding, the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, the CBO, all those guys are aspects of giving you that validation. But now you come in and say, oh, by the way, do you know in our first year or in our 1 month of thinking about this idea, we have already onboarded CEO so-and-so who is willing to serve as the board chair in the interim capacity. Already, you are trying to show an investor that this is not just a far-fetched idea. The idea that I'm bringing, the solution that I'm bringing on board is a solution that is already getting traction. Within 3 months of us floating this idea to the community, we have already gotten 200 volunteers that have signed up that are just waiting. In view or in bid for us testing the market, we produce some samples. In a record 2 days, our sales, we ran out of stock. That is how we tested the practicability, we tested the sustainability, we tested the demand of this particular solution that we want to give. So now where the donor or the partner or the investor sits is saying, I would want to invest because you are demonstrating the traction. You are demonstrating validation. You're demonstrating the fact that you are not alone. You are demonstrating that your idea is getting some kind of support. You can even come with commitments. I wanted to start an NGO about supporting children or young women or people with disability. However, I've spoken to this disability community. I've already gotten 3 or 4 organizations that are willing to commit this number of scholarships to do this. Or I've already talked to this particular high network or rich individuals that are willing and saying, in 1 year of launch, they are willing to sponsor this particular aspect of my business or this particular aspect of my business. That is how you demonstrate traction, validation. And that's how you begin to start convincing the people in the room that your idea is the best idea to basically look at. But there's the market. Who is there who will be consuming this product that you want to introduce into the market? Are there other players? Why would somebody want, what is the share? In fact, it's more of a demonstration and saying, oh, while I know there are many players into this field, this is the share. People like numbers, quantitative, demonstrating that, oh, this is what is happening in the market. We know that company A is a big player in this. And even with company A being a big player, they are unable to consume 10%. They are able to consume only 10% of the market. They still need of 90%. And I am coming in with my business, to be able to, I'm coming up with my business or my idea to be able to figure out and see, oh, is there, what percentage of this can I also take share of? Because there may be something for everyone, so there may be something for everyone based on the kind of research that you've done. So people are very keen on the market. Who do you intend to serve? Are they receptive to this idea? If they're receptive to this idea, then you will know that there is some aspect of scaling, there's some aspect of sustainability, there's some aspect of longevity, the longness of the organization once it's started. So it's not going to die or fizzle out, within maybe the first year or 3 years of its launch. Then there's the aspect of competition, and the competition means that who are the other players that are out there, and because they are out there, do you recognize? One of the strengths that you'll have is recognize the competition that is there, so that now it can help you with the placement. So that now you're saying, I know this is what our competitors are offering. This is the alternative that I would actually be giving. So competition will help you to determine your price model. Competition will help you to restructure. For example, if you're doing a scholarship program, there are people who are offering scholarship and probably they are offering scholarships which are not comprehensive. If you want to do a product, maybe is that, an internet provider or is a healthcare provider, those who exist, probably they do not bring it to your doorstep, and you want to bring it to your doorstep, to the doorstep of your clients. So while their players is acknowledging what the players are providing, and then you'll be able to kind of see what else, can actually be provided. Yeah, I'll be going back into the traction slides shortly. Just allow me to, get to, the 12th slide, that comprises of a pitch deck. So that's on the competition in terms of what alternative are you giving, in relations to what your competitors are offering out there. It could even be just a similar product, and probably maybe you beat them in terms of the price, maybe you beat them in terms of the quality, maybe you beat in terms of the after-sales service that you're providing, maybe you beat them in terms of customized customer service or customer relationship. So there has to be some gap. It could be the same product, but some gaps that you're trying to basically address. That's why it's important for you to appreciate and understand your competition. Then there is the business model. How are you planning to make money? How do you plan to make money? How does your revenue look like? Because again, your idea on how you plan to raise resources for your enterprise becomes critical. So what are the various sources that you're basically looking at in terms of financing, your business? But even having finance your business, what are the profit trajectory, the revenue trajectory, that, feedback, into your business, so those revenues becomes a very critical aspect of a business model. And I know you have walked through different business model and financial model, as part of the academy. So how are you planning to make money is important. Even the charity NGOs that exist, CBOs that exist, you have to have a way of wanting to make money. Because at the end of the day, that is how you are able to sustain your operations. I don't think there are CBOs that everybody you walk to an office, you need to dress well. You need to be able to sustain, to pay electricity. You need to be, so there has to be some money elements that are involved. So you need to figure out how do you plan to make money. So if you are a CBO or an NGO, are you looking at putting in some administrative fee to all programs so that now the administrative fee would then come and finance your operational cost? If you are a business, are you looking at projecting in terms of putting in a markup in terms of this is the cost of producing a service or a product, then if I put my markup, then this is what I will be selling it for, so that now I can make some profits to be able to help me run my operations and scale and even pay people. So all these are different dynamics that you need to be looking at, whether you are looking at a business model for an NGO, a CBO, or an entrepreneurship or a startup. Then there is that aspect of investing. That is slide 11. So business model is looking at how you plan to make money. Investing, you are looking at what is your planned budget to actualize the solution. Investing goes together with the solution. Remember, when you're looking at, it goes together with the product in terms of your programs. So these are the programs. So what is your costing of those programs? What is your costing of those activities? So that the costing of the program, the costing of the activities is what is giving a rough estimate of what your budget basically is looking like. So what is the kind of money investing is now? What are you asking me based on the solution? What is your call for action? What are you asking me based on the solution and based on the activities that I'm trying to put together to help solve the problem? How much, is the cost of all that? So now that is what is that is the investing slide. You could give a summary, in terms of just a scale. My operational cost is this, my personnel is this, my capital expenditures are this, these are my assets, these are probably the travel in terms of just high level, and then this is the total. This is what these are the core program costs. So this is what that particular budget, looks like. It is important, and we've reiterated by mentioning the fact that contact, this pitch is supposed to get you to the next meeting. So it's important to leave your contact details. As even you're pitching, somebody's already recording those details. So saying, oh, if they're impressed, they will just do you a quick email. Fantastic, please send me your executive summary, or please send me a detailed plan highlighting point A, B, C, this for my review, for my reference, so that now we can have a discussion in the next meeting. So contacts becomes critical. Who do you put as the contact person? I advise you, the person you put as the contact person is the CEO, who is making the pitch presentation. And if it's not the CEO, then it's somebody who can competently respond to inquiries without asking anybody, in relations to the project. So that will be your chief development officer, person, who will be keen on issues of resourcing, or that could be your chief business development officer, that is focusing on. So the person who is going to be basically the principal investigator or core to the project becomes now the contact. So you have two contacts. The primary contact becomes the CEO. The secondary contact becomes somebody again who is higher, either chief finance officer, chief customer service relations officer, chief information system officer, or chief development officer, depending on the setup, of your business. But let me come back to the traction. The traction, I was talking, because again, I'm presenting this based on whether you are running a business in terms of a startup, or whether you are looking at a CBO or a program, a CBO or an NGO. It means, depending on how you structure it, it can mean, can be interpreted, differently. But what somebody wants to look at in terms of the traction is the aspect of investors are looking for validation. What they're looking for there is validation. They're looking for you demonstrating, to them, that they can actually invest in the business based on the promise, And how do I demonstrate traction? I can demonstrate traction if I already have people who are currently working with me. If I already have people who are currently working with me, if I already have partners that have onboarded that are already working with me, if I already have customers that have already enlisted, I can give you even a projection, of who are the other people that I'm basically looking out for. If I already even have a list, so it's more of, again, validation, is more of, again, demonstration, even partnership. The kind of partners that I have, the kind of network that I have would make a potential investor look at my page and say, wow, they say, show me your friends and I will know who you are. So if you can put, that slide in terms of, these are the people that have already expressed interest to work with me, then everybody is like, wow, where so-and-so is, I would want also to be part of that, and all that kind of stuff. So that is how now the traction slide, can be, basically designed. But the way you are looking at it, when you're looking at the traction, you're looking at traction from the point of, remember, this is a framework. You don't force the traction simply because it's here written traction. So the way you could say, you could have organizational capacity. That's how you can define it when you're doing your pitch. You can have it as a title, organizational capacity. You can have it as a title and say potential partners, that we are currently working with. You get that? So it's how you configure it and how you structure it to make sense. Remember, pitches vary from, an idea to an idea. Is you to kind of, figure out how best, to basically, work around it. So that is basically what the pitch content is all about. This is all you need to convince a potential partner that you need to be supported. So if you allow me, Sally, I can just show one sample, one sample pages, so that, to the scholars, of a program, so that now we see, how that, plays out. I've got several, but this will be shared with you, will be shared, for just purposes of, through your email, so that now you have a look, of what that looks like. I don't know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. So scholars, if you check, what is before you is one pager. It's not 2 pages, it's just 1 page. And what we were basically doing is we were making a page for a green energy plan, and we gave our vision. We want to be a fully green energy campus by 2020. This is one of the samples that we did out there. What is the current situation? This is what our consumption was standing at, in terms of one department alone, and we also put in the amount of money that we were spending, both annually, to just demonstrate how dire the situation was. And then what is our solution? We are looking at solution, which is, can we adopt a green energy plan? And noting how green energy plan would be an expensive process, we structure the green energy plan into 3 phases. We say, this is what we are looking at in phase 1. Can we help us do light retrofit in the library and administration as phase 1, and that is the cost that is there. Phase 2, can you help us design, supply, and install what that PV system is, and the cost is there. And then in phase 3, can you help us do this 1 megawatts of solar PV system, and that is the cost there. What am I trying to do to a potential investor here? I am trying to make this presentation and make it very clear that I recognize that you might not be having all the monies that probably I'm asking for, but you might say, oh, where can I actually be putting my resources? How much do I have, and what can I commit to this project? But there is the aspect of what am I requesting? I am requesting for funding support for phase 2 and phase 3. Remember, I'm not requesting for funding support for phase 1. Why? Because I would say that I've already budgeted for that, and I will be handling that in my budget. But phase 2 and 3, to give them more time to start thinking about it. But what am I asking again? I'm asking, saying, hey, would you be able to refer me to the potential partners, that I can actually work with? And then now you have to demonstrate value. What value is it for me to invest in the project? The value is, it is going to help us lower an electricity bill. And if we lower an electricity bill, that will allow us to probably invest the resources that we are currently spending on electricity to give more scholarships to students. So we will plow that back, because we are a not-for-profit organization, we'll plow that back to help support the student. But the most important one, for the environment lovers, you say that solar PV panels will help protect the environment. So who are the people I'm targeting? I'm targeting for climate change advocates, to help finance this. But I'm also saying that who to contact, please reach out to the Vice Chancellor, who is the CEO of the school, and reach out to the Director of University Advancement, who reports to the CEO, and with whom resource mobilization rests. So that is one of the samples of the program in terms of how this is structured. But I want to show you another one. Of course, they will elicit some debates, so I want to show you another one, and then you see how they are structured differently. So this other one is for a hostel project. I don't know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, please, we are.
So the other one is student hostels. So I want to request for partnership to help develop a hostels. So I talk about campus life. We are built in a vibrant community as a university for academic excellence. We've been existent for more than 53 years. What is our challenge? Our challenge is that our on-campus accommodation can only do 256 beds against a population of over 6,000 students. So the current capacity we are serving is 3.7%. So somebody already sees the need. If you're only serving 3.7% of your current student population, then there's already a need there for building more hostels. So what is our plan? We want to accommodate 25% of our students on campus by 2020 or 2025. So what does that mean? So 25% of 6,000 students is actually around 2,500 beds. So if you are looking at 256 beds, you have a shortage to meet that 25% of around 2,000 beds. So 2,000 beds, any potential, and we're saying we are looking for like-minded partners to help us construct 2,500 bed capacity. if you push something like this, already the potential investors are already looking at it and figuring out which model can we use to help finance the housing needs at USIU Africa, and we are talking about impact. If you do this, we will be able to raise a student academic achievement, we'll be able to guarantee safety of the students and security, the contact hours of classes will improve, will improve retention and graduation rates, will improve our brand and attract more students because we've lost many international students because of our inability to house more students. So how can you partner with us? We invite sponsors to help us construct part or the whole of the hostels. And again, the contacts are the CEO, and the Director of University Advancement. But if you notice there, we have not put any price because the cost of constructing a hostel varies from one place to other. We have also not put a model. So some people will say, we want to partner with you on a build, operate, and transfer model. Some people will say, we want to partner with you by giving you maybe a low interest loan. Somebody will say that I want to partner with you so that now we build it on, on a partnership model. Somebody says, oh, I can actually give you money to construct one wing of a girls' hostel and name it after me, and I'm giving you money free of charge. So they are but you are doing this to help, kind of ignite a conversation, around how to, basically, do this. So I wanted to just share, how, that works. Of course, we will be getting into the question and answer form, but I would like now to, at this point, to get it back to Salome, to just walk you through as a judge, what is it that they are basically looking out for? Thank you, and back to you, Salome.
Thank you so much, Ines. So allow me to just share screen once again. So Ines has talked about pitch content and samples. So I'll go straight into what will be the judges be looking out for on Friday. Or alternatively, some would ask, what will an investor consider whenever you're making a pitch presentation? So this is assuming that you've created a spark, you've gotten an appointment, so now you're here prepared to make your pitch presentation. So one of the things that a judge or an investor would look out for is your idea should be well introduced. So what that means that you've put in your name and contact, as Ines has clearly articulated. You've put the name of the business or the CBO or the NGO, and you've also indicated whether the business is an idea, if it's an existing business, or what exactly the project or idea is all about. Number two, you need to clearly articulate the background of your business, whether it's a CBO or NGO. That means that you need to indicate whether it is, if you've indicated it's an idea, what idea are you looking at? What kind of gap are you looking to address? If it's an current ongoing business, please give a brief background of what you're referring to in your business. Assume that this is someone who's not interacted with you at all. So make sure when you're talking about your background, it's very clear, succinct, simple, precise, to the point. For example, if you're talking about the gap of having waste vegetable oil being thrown in the kitchen drains that is causing blockage of water system. So that means that if you're talking about waste vegetable oil as the background or the challenge, then what business idea are you looking at? Are you looking at coming up with biodiesel that can be used in running an automatic or engine, for example? So that means the gap is your waste vegetable oil, and the gap you're solving is having affordable fuel, for instance. That's just a top. Number three, you need to have made market analysis and needs assessment. That means that you need to take time and understand the market you're trying to address. Most of the time, we find ourselves in a rush to say, for example, like, this is the hunger, you're trying to you're trying to solve hunger problem, or you're trying to solve energy problem, or you're trying to solve medical issues. So make sure you have enough data and statistics to show that there's actually a gap, because you might find yourself coming into a business idea, or whether it's a CBO or an NGO, yet there's no gap. So make sure when you're doing your market analysis or needs assessment, it clearly shows that this is the gap, and the gap can be filled because of 1, 2, 3 reasons. Number 4, you need to clearly mention what your products, services, or activities or programs you're looking to envision. Remember what Ines said, if you're not clear from the onset, then that would mean you lose out on an opportunity for an investor, or even lose out on Friday as the judges rate you. So that would mean you need to say what the product is based on the market needs, based on the gaps that you've identified in the background. What services are you looking to offer? Is it a value add service? For example, if you're looking to do milk, for example, as a business, are you going to do value addition in terms of yogurt or ice cream? Or, you have to be really, really clear and succinct on what kind of product or service you're going to do. If it's technology, what kind of technology are you looking at? Is it having a smartphone? Does it mean that you have to have internet? Does it mean that you have to have a computer, for example? So you need to be very, very clear on the kind of product and service that you're looking to mention or present on Friday. Then, of course, number 5, what is a unique value proposition that you're having? This, in simple words, means what is your competitive value or added advantage that you're saying? If you're going to open CBO XYZ, so what? If they're in all the other CBOs that have the same the good or product or service that you're having, why should someone come to your business or invest in your business and not your neighbor's business? So it is better and for all of us to be clear in our unique value proposition, because that is actually your selling point. Then, of course, I can't emphasize the need of what Ines has talked about, the team. And here you need to identify the roles that the team is going to do. For example, like Ines said, if the person in making the presentation is a CEO, the CEO will clearly indicate that I need a technology person or a HR person or an accountant. So you need to explain what will be the role of the accountant, what will be the role of the HR, so that when the judge sees the face as the CEO or the CFO or whoever is presenting, then this person will know that there's a big team behind this proposition. As Ines has also alluded, it's better to also come straight and say, if you have a team of volunteers who have expertise in the area, so that when you're pitching the idea, it's clear to the investor or the judge to know whether you need help in HR, or maybe it could be financial, which is related to my next point. So you need to highlight what is required. And this is what we call the ask. What are you asking in terms of financial? Are you asking for an investor? Are you asking for a partner, a business partner? Or are you asking for a grant? Are you asking for a loan? If you're asking for a loan, please indicate how long the loan will last you for. If it's for a year, how are you going to convince the judge and the donors? How are you going to repay the loan? For example, if that's what you're asking for. If you're asking for a partner, what is the stake that the partner will get? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? Is it 30%? And give the reasons why they're given that allocation. So this is actually the cherry on the cake. If your mathematics is not clear enough, then there will be loopholes when the judges will be asking you questions or the investor. So if you have a challenge in articulating your budget or financing requirements, it's better that you indicate that that is a weakness. However, you are looking to fulfill the weakness by having a professional on board who will be hired to assess and audit the financial reports. Then, of course, you overall design. That means that the person presenting needs to look the part, needs to feel confident, because the judges will look at the PowerPoint presentation and also the body language of the presenter. So that means that the person who is going to present the business needs to do quite a bit of reading and studying. They need to show that they're passionate. They need to show that that this is serious business. We are here to ask for whether it's HR related or financial related or product or technology related investment, so that the judges and the investors can feel convinced to buy into your CBO or NGO. So what are some of the do's in terms of making a pitch? So on Friday, when you come in and make your presentation, you need to make a great first impression. There's a saying that goes first impression, last impression. So that means that make sure you are prepared. You can even practice with your friend or loved ones, or even in the mirror. Just look at yourself in the mirror and go ahead and rehearse the presentation. Because what the investors will do will look at your face, your facial expressions, your tonal variation. Are you confident? Have you done enough research to answer the questions that they'll be asking you? So just assume that it is an interview for a job, and the job is to get a stake into your business. Then, as Ines articulately said, you need to limit each slide to expressing one idea. Please refrain from combining ideas, because the judges will not have time to read through the slides. In fact, they will be looking at you as you present the different topics. So if you're talking about HR, simply focus on HR. Take time, even if it's a minute or 30 seconds. Take a deep breath and just express what your business or passion is all about. Number 3, you need to show the people behind your idea. Most people usually refrain from investing in startups. So you need to show the judges that you're confident. It's not a one-man's business or CBO, because, hey, you'll be working with partners, you'll be working with volunteers, maybe not. You'll be working with experts, because in this business, you're going to handle financial reports. You're going to handle, if you're going to handle a product, what's the technology behind the product? Are you saying that if you're going to handle something that's environment related, are you an expert in environment? If yes, then it's good. If not, please indicate that this is someone who you'll be working with in your CBO or NGO. Number 4, you need to tell a story and engage people emotionally. That means that when you're explaining your story, you could start by saying how the journey began, even as explaining through the ups, the downs, the SMART goals, the short-term goals, the long-term goals, your mission, where you see yourself in 5 years. You need to tell it through a story. That way you keep the judges engaged to even ask questions, and you make the presentation last in the memory of an investor. They might not necessarily they might want actually to have even a further engagement with you, and even book a second appointment, or even tell you or link you up to a different donor or financial investor. So make sure you are talking about it passionately and share it through a story. Number 5, you need to know your product better than anyone. That would mean, or it simply means, even as you put on your screen and share your presentation, there's no one who knows your business better than you. So that means you need to do enough background to understand your product, your service, better than the judge, better than WMI, better than Ines or myself. Because guess what? If you don't understand your product, you lose a chance of securing an investment, be it financial, be it technology-wise, be it human investment. Then keep a consistent look in presentation. So that means how you dress, your facial expressions, it all counts from the moment you start presenting till the end. What are some of the don'ts? Some of the don'ts include: do not read your script. Do not have a piece of paper, do not have short notes, just internalize your presentation. I did not say cram the presentation, I mean internalize the presentation. So that means that whether the slides are there or not, assume you have a technical hitch. Would that mean that you'll stop your presentation? It shouldn't. You should go ahead and, because you are passionate about it, go ahead and explain what your business idea is all about, your NGO or your CBO. Please, please do not come unprepared. Thankfully, we have a session with you on Thursday. We will do a dry run. That means each one of you will make a presentation so that we are just sure on Friday, everyone is bringing in their A game. Like I said, it doesn't hurt to practice in front of a mirror, hear yourself, try practicing with your friends, your family. But on Thursday, we do have a session with you. So please, please create time so that when we meet on Thursday, we'll be hearing your ideas and giving you areas of improvement. Of course, do not use too many bullet points. As you can see, this slide, it has 6 points and they are precise and to the point. Even if possible, you can create a picture, put pictures to make the presentation more vivid, more memorable. So in fact, what we normally encourage, do not use small fonts. You should use at least font 28 and above, so that anyone who is not able to hear you clearly or wants to read whatever you're presenting, they can read it without necessarily having any hiccups. Most of the time, you'll find people using black and white colors for presentation, because some may have challenges with color. But at the end of the day, make sure your presentation is not too long, it's short. There's this phrase that we use, keep it short and simple, KISS, keep it short and simple. That means that even if you're using pictures to make a presentation about your business, by all means, why not? As long as the content flows from the presenter. And that's why Ines kept emphasizing the person making the presentation is very, very key. In fact, you'd rather have you one making the presentation and the other team member taking notes, because after that, we will explain why it's good to share different roles amongst the members of the business. I'll hand it over to Ines to just take us through tips for in-person presentation. Ines, over to you.
Thank you, thank you, Sally. And I think the bulk of this actually been covered. And whether we do presentation virtually or whether we do presentation, in person. I think just be who you are, and when you are presenting on something that you're passionate about, it will be natural. That naturality is what investors and partners assess. So again, just smile. Assume the power pose. The power pose comes with how you dress. How you dress sometimes gives you that confidence. And you could see even from the picture presentation, the lady that is making the presentation, how she's smiling. She's taking charge. Of the presentation, and you could see a lot of excitement and attention from the people that are actually listening to her. Ensure that you utilize the space well, and that comes when you have not. That comes when you have not crammed. If you've not crammed and you fear that you might miss some words or lose some words, there's a chance that you will make good use of the space. So, and the judges may or the investors may be spread out in the room. Utilizing space is there's somebody who has asked you the question, but you're responding while you are also keeping your eye, on the other judges and participants that are basically into the room, so that now you could tell that somebody might have asked a question, but the way you respond, you could figure out some reactions from maybe another person. Remember, all these are gauging you. When a judge asks you a question, they have a rubric where now they are assessing. So everybody is assessing your response. It's only that they've divided themselves on who needs to be asking what. Speak clearly. Don't be afraid of gestures. Remember to breathe and basically maintain eye contact. What is important? You can make a mistake. You can panic. You can be tensed. how you recollect yourself during that pitch presentation can make you stand out in terms of how you just pick it up, and basically move on. There's nothing stopping you from saying, hey, sorry, in this slide, this is what I meant, however, it's coming out the way it's come out, but this is what I actually meant in terms of looking at this in relations to this, in relations to this, in relations to this. So once you realize that there's a slide that you had presented and maybe it's conflicting with probably another slide that you're making presentation, there's nothing wrong going back to make some correction, but you're making correction in a manner that somebody sees this, some genuineness, some honesty in how you are basically pushing that. So Sally, the next slide, please. So that we can have some time for engagement. And I see there are a couple of questions that are coming on the chat. Again, we stated that the pitch presentation is supposed to get you that next meeting. It's supposed to secure you that invite. But sometimes those invites rarely come. There is nothing wrong to follow up with a potential investor, and just saying, oh, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to present my idea to you. I am looking forward, to probably getting to hear from you, once you make, some initial or preliminary, way forward. You are recognizing that somebody spent their time to basically respond and listen to your pitches. So you're just being courteous in terms of just making, that aspect of, follow up. But there's also the element that your idea might have not been even appealing, to the presentation that you're making. It's like, oh, once you get feedback, it can be a negative feedback. There's nothing responding back and say, thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate it. It's very candid and it's going to help me improve going forward. I just wanted to request again, if there are opportunities, or referrals that you can make, I'll greatly appreciate. So you are able to, do that, as well. Do that, as well. Look at the weak points that led to some negative reactions from the investor. And once you get those feedback, and one of the things that you do is to get feedback, from the judges and from, facilitators. Once you get those feedback, take them as a way of learning. You might not succeed once, second, third times, but those failures, lessons you learn from them, makes you better and makes your business, organizations basically grow. Keep refining, keep practicing, keep executing, even if you think you found the perfect pitch. Just keep on doing, so that now the more you learn, the more you basically become perfect. You will really never know how good your pitch is until you actually, do it. So we basically encourage you to constantly continue doing these pitches. If it doesn't work with another investor, go and pitch to another investor. Always seek for opportunities to pitch, because that is how now you basically keep on. Don't stress yourself out and treat every investor pitch as a learning experience for you and your business. You will only continue to get better and better, and can only apply those learnings to every areas of your business. That's how you need to look at it. Every feedback you get a way of basically feeding it, or using it as a feedback mechanism, to basically look at that. So I would want to stop there and spend a couple of minutes to respond to your queries, or questions that you basically have, as much as possible. Otherwise, thank you very much. I would want to probably, with the permission of Salome, to hand this over to Phoebe, to probably help us with some aspect of the question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There are a few questions. The latest one is from Portia. She's saying traction and target market. Is there a difference between the two?
Yes, that's a quick one. Yes, there's a difference between the two. The target market is where now, you have an idea of who you want to reach out to. this is the population that I want to serve. For example, I want to serve young women, with disability. I want to serve, young women, young mothers, for example. I want to serve, the poor or the people in the rural area. I want to serve people who are trained pharmacists, but do not have maybe a capacity in a certain area. So the target market is the population you are intending, to reach out. The traction is basically the aspect of who are your supporters. Who are your what do you have at the moment? You get that can make you convince, somebody that you are the best fit or the best bet. So that's how I am looking at the element of the traction. Because the target market is the population that you are aiming to. The traction is now you are getting into the specifics. This is what I have at the moment. You could be having your projections, but what you are using to demonstrate that you are a credible business or is going to make sense is based on what you have at the moment. You could really look at it demonstrating your organizational capacity, as currently is before even you venture into the new market. I don't know whether that responds to you, Portia, but that would be the difference, unless Sally, has some comments.
Not at all, Ines. You've rightly elaborated the difference between the two.
Okay, so Portia seems happy with that answer. Any other questions from the participants? Questions, observations, comments? Give it. Okay, going once, twice. I think everyone is clear.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Yes,
if you allow, I just wanted to clarify on this session on Thursday. Guys, every opportunity you get to learn, please, let's take advantage of the opportunity to learn. Remember, there will be participation even among the participants. Even these pitch presentations, they're not just pitch presentation for the people who are making the presentation. These pitch presentations are for all of us. Remember, there is also a voice of a scholar who is not presenting in terms of what was standing out for you as these scholars who are your colleagues who are making their presentation. And while you critique, your fellow scholar, you are learning, you're giving them those depth, those insights that would be useful, but you're also learning because you might have not been pitching on this occasion, but tomorrow you will actually be doing pitching yourself, somewhere. So it's a way of validating each other's way of thinking and sharing your perspective. And even on that Friday, your voice will matter because everybody needs, some feedback, in relations to what is happening. So for the Thursday session, it's an opportunity, of course, to kind of do a deep dive, of the 13 features, but we can also use this as an opportunity for everybody else who could be having some idea, that is still under development, but because of time or because of some reasons you are unable to make pitch. Now, remember the way we were saying pitches, you keep on pitching, so, we could structure it that way. So I would encourage all of us to be part of the Thursday, presentation, because we will be giving genuine feedback as scholars, who are maybe not present. You will be judges, you'll be panelists, for those as our colleagues will be presenting. And then when they're making now the final pitch, we will also be judges because there will be polls that will be opening for all of us, to rate our colleagues based on their presentation. So I just wanted to offer that clarity, and we are looking forward, to having you join us on both Thursday and Friday.
Thank you, Ines.
It's
There's a
also
raised
form
hand.
of moral support. I was saying it
Sorry,
is
go
also
ahead.
it's also moral support to our colleagues to just come and get candid feedback from our fellow academicians from the time we started week 1 all the way to week 8. So I highly echo Ines' comments.
Okay. Thank you so much. There's a hand, Dr. Silas. Do you want to ask a question? Okay. I am allowing you to talk in case you want to talk.
Please, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
can
please,
you hear
we
me?
can. We can.
Yes, 5 days presentation is 5 minutes. I mean, the page presentation is just 5 minutes. And then looking at the parameters we need to present on, is a 5 minutes going to be okay, or we need to be given extra time? I think if the panel can look into it, otherwise we just make a summarized version of all that we need to present. I don't know if that is going to be enough. That is my perspective.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Silas. I think that's a brilliant observation. Let me also just tell you that in 1 minute, somebody can make a very good pitch in 1 minute, you know. So these are some of the things that we'll be learning on Thursday, you know, on what are the key highlights that you need to be, you know, because again, now, if I know that there's an area which is an area of weakness as a presenter, I will not focus on those areas. I will just focus on areas of strength. So if, for example, within the 12th slide, I realize that I need to highlight here, I need to highlight here to get people to give me that next meeting, then that is what I will focus on. You know, so it's again prioritization from where you sit, and these are some of the things that we'll be looking at when we meet on Thursday in terms of how then do you utilize. In fact, the maximum you should be taking when you're making this pitch should be around 3 minutes on the higher side. You know, if you can put your message out there in 2 minutes, you will be you'll be in a very good place, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But we'll talk about, you know, it's about positioning. Which areas do you want to highlight? What we gave is a framework. You know, that framework that we gave, you could still pick and say, these are the key strength point, you know, that I think if I highlight, then I can get that that next meeting. If you check the cases that I presented, the cases that I presented are a one-pager. Those cases that are a one-pager, they did not have everything, you know, that is basically there, but I've picked on, and they differ from one case to the other. So you just need to look at how your organization is structured, and then that is basically what we put forward. But we'll learn more about this when we meet on Thursday.
Might also add that sometimes a person's concentration span might not be as long as you would want as the judges to have, because you needed to have an equal opportunity to all the, might call them entrepreneurs, who will be presenting or pitching on Friday. As Ines said, ideally we would wish the presentations to be very, very short, but also to respect the investors and also judges' time. We felt that 5 minutes would be adequate to communicate all that pertains to your businesses in a simple manner. And that's why for today we talked about what the judges will be considering, what are some of the do's and don'ts, and also just concentrate on what is actually key, what will make you sell or stand out, so that you're not concentrating on what will make you not secure funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Was that clear, Dr. Silas?
What about areas of poor connections? Hello?
Yes, just I got you, Dr. Silas. In fact, what we are looking at is we encourage. That's why we discourage. If you see in all our presentation, we've avoided the videos because we know that videos will consume a lot of internet connectivity, and there is likely to be a challenge. That is part of the preparation. When you're going to look for money, that is part of the things that you need to be prepared for. You're looking at, I'm going to make this page and I want to make a kill out of this page. Part of the preparation is to ensure that there's stable connectivity from where you are, because remember, people are competing, and because people are competing, you are looking at, if they are to choose one or two, would they consider somebody who was prepared to have all this internet connectivity ready, or would they consider somebody who was disappointed by an internet connectivity or something like that? So what we encourage is that for purposes of doing the pitch presentation, have backup, internet, have whatever you need to ensure that you get it through, so that now within your wow moment, those 5 minutes that you are before a presenter, you hope that you will clear the presentation uninterrupted. However, if again you drop off, the judges will be gracious enough to give you up to around maybe 1 minute, to basically log back, and pick it from where basically you left from. What they will not do is to give you another opportunity, because it is so much kind of timed, and they have to go through many presentations. So they will only rate it at the point of when you are able to make your presentation. That is what they will gauge, and they will give you feedback based on that. But we hope, that everybody who is presenting, would be able to ensure that they've got stability. And we encourage not even those who are not presenting to have stable internet, so that you ensure that you don't miss out on anything throughout, the presentations.
Well, thank you so much to both you, Ines and Salome, for your thorough presentation and for answering the question. And just to reiterate, Thursday session is a good place for you to get your questions answered, to ask all sorts of questions, get clarity. Yes, so Ines and Salome have availed themselves for an extra session starting at 5 EST to 6 p.m. EST. If you're in Southern Africa, that is 4 to 5, and then that is 10 to 11 a.m. EST. Okay, yes. So East Africa, that is 5 to 6. Southern Africa, that is 4 to 5. And then if you're in West Africa, that is 3 to 4. I hope I have not confused everyone, but that is the timing. So Thursday, that is the information session. You are all invited, not just the 13 who are pitching on Friday, but everyone, as Ines said, get an opportunity to learn further from the session that we learned today. So again, thank you so much for your time and for everyone that attended throughout the sessions, and we'll end here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
All right, bye.